I saw an incredible sight. Stalactites hung from the ceiling, and fancifully shaped stalagmites rose from the ground to meet them. Crystal prisms sparkled all over the ceiling. Spiral columns, reminiscent of a Buddhist temple, strange formations on the walls, and lime curtains in corners created a surreal effect. In the middle of the cave, directly across from me, stood an enormous woolly mammoth. Its trunk was outstretched as if this colossus was about to call others to battle. Its enormous legs, each thicker than my torso, were spread, the head slightly bowed. The mammoth's entire huge body shone as if covered in glass. The mammoth was surrounded by smaller members of the animal kingdom, brown and white bears, wolves, foxes, sables, stoats. It was a veritable ice zoo. Glossy birds sat on rock ledges, polar owls, geese, ducks, and crows. Along the walls stood the two-legged representatives of the polar and subpolar regions, Yakuts, Samoyeds, Vogels, Chukchas, all of them in full national costume, armed with home-made bows, arrows, and animal traps. Some looked prepared to shoot, others steered sled dogs or reindeer, yet others were holding harpoons or oars. Next to them were household objects and tools. It was an entire museum, uncommonly varied and comprehensive. All of the exhibits were covered in a transparent substance that shone like glass and allowed one to discern the smallest details. "Amazing," I said. Mr. Bailey chuckled indulgently. "Your scientists are only planning to set up an ice museum, and I have already done so. You know how permafrost preserves bodies completely intact. That mammoth we dug up has been trapped in permafrost for many thousands of years, but its meat is fresh enough to cook and eat today. Our dogs were very happy to have a few mammoth steaks." "But you don't just have prehistoric animals here. You also have bears and foxes. Besides, what about these people?" "Yes, I also collected living samples." "Living people?" "Why not? What's the difference? Sooner or later, each one of these people would have been mauled by a bear, or simply died a natural death and vanished without a trace, as animals do. The fate of those who ended up in my museum is beautiful. The cold preserves them better than embalming kept Egyptian mummies. They are immortal." "For whom? Who sees them?" "You. Me. Does it matter? I have no intention of turning my museum into an educational institution and bequeath it to anyone. It's my whim, my entertainment. You can't have all work and no play. I must have amusement." "And for that you killed people?" "I am not the first person to say hunting people is the most exciting sport. Although I don't want you to think I intentionally organized hunting parties to go after the two-legged animal. Not at all. Those here are the ones who were careless enough to wander near my city. No one was supposed to know about it. Those who followed the wind simply never returned. But that is not all," he continued after a pause. "I'll show you another exhibit of my museum. Come." We continued to an adjacent cave. It was significantly smaller. In the depth of the cave along the walls stood more human statues gleaming like glass. We came closer. "Here, how about this?" Mr. Bailey said, pointing at the statues. "This is the fate of anyone who tries to run away from here. You see this pedestal? It was intended for you." Mr. Bailey turned on the main lamp. Bright light fell upon the statues. I looked closer and shuddered. They were dead and covered in liquid glass, or some other transparent substance. "I freeze people, and then douse them with water, which instantly turns to ice. They can stay here until the second coming. A very educational sight, no? I show these mummies to the potential escapees after their first attempt, and it has a greatly beneficial effect. The guilty lose all desire to violate the laws I established.